Well, you threw.
Stress level at a 9.
Chris Demm says I wake up at an 8.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yesterday, the blinding you with science was that you can predict. Now, there's an app out there that literally, if you pay $40 a year, you can look on it and it will predict the exact date you're going to die.
You got to feed all kinds of information to it, but it will give you a date.
Exactly. And Biggie said, and rightfully so, you have to be brutally honest with the app. You have to say really what you eat and really if you smoke.
What you don't do.
What you do and what you don't damn do.
All the things we love to lie to ourselves about.
Exactly. You have to be honest. Even when you lie only to yourself, it's like, what's the point? You know the answer, I used to, when I would play golf, even by myself, and I did that sometimes, I would, fudge a little and give myself a 5 instead of a 6. And then at the end of the round, it's like, well, who are you lying to?
Yeah.
It's just you out here.
But it makes us all feel better.
I guess that's right.
Like I've, as you know, just had a hospital stay.
Yes.
And, but now leaving that, I'm looking at some things and I'm like, yeah, I could have done this better.
Well,
I could have done this better.
You're examining your own life.
And
you say there's some things you could have done better.
Well, I mean, if we go really far
Well,
back.
I mean, look, who among us couldn't say the same?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if
That's-
we go
that's
back.
the human
We're all
condition.
human.
Yeah.
We're all human. So the app is, and I was interested. I thought this could be something. I'm into this.
Because you're obsessed with your own
Mortality.
Immortality.
Trying to be the first person ever to live to be 150 or beyond. That's where I want to go. I want them to come to me when I'm 125 and go, my God, how did you do it? And I'll be sitting here doing this job.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah.
want.
Pickleball and radio.
That's right. That's right. What'd you say? One time, Chris Demm said the keys to my longevity: pickleball, radio, and cock rings.
Well, he's not
We
wrong.
misplaced one of those.
I've misplaced one. Edibles. Okay, this is my formula for success. Okay, so Biggie said, but when you enter into the app, like when you're going to die, all the stats of your life, you have to really be honest when it comes to your stress level. And that's when Chris Demm said, you wake up at an 8, which is true. On a scale of 1 to 10, as soon as I open my eyes, it's like, what's going to go wrong today? I've always got these things running in my head of how things are going badly. Here's where we are on a technical level on our program.
At this moment.
At this moment in this building. Biggie's in here. He does last-minute details before this show begins. Usually I'm still back in the office. Sometimes Chris Demm is. And with about, 5 minutes to go today, Biggie dialed into me. I was getting ready to come in, and I hear Biggie say, so I can't hear him. He's on the phone. Now, the phone, it's a landline phone. And I say, I can't hear you, and then it just goes dead.
We're in big trouble. Nothing is work. I did hear that.
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, yes. And I'm going, hello?
Biggie?
Biggie, is that you? I can't hear you. And so, so then I dial into him. And he says, he goes, problems.
Code red.
Well, because I'm also,
You're trying to work.
I'm
this
trying to
thing.
work, and I'm on the phone with our
yes.
our IT man, Drew,
Oh, yes.
trying to, wake him up.
What's his stress level? I mean, early.
I'd say right now,
High. This is this maddening system. We changed systems in here about 2.5 years ago, and it's maddeningly frustrating sometimes because it works most of the time. But today, and by the way, we dial each other 2 or 3 times on these landline phones, and Biggie said, "Get in here, come in now." That's really what I was hearing. Well, of course, I've got, yesterday I didn't have my book. I didn't have my stack. Look at today, not even stapled.
Flimsy.
I got a flimsy stack. I have not stapled it together, and I had to come in early. I was like, and I was running behind to begin with. So it's like, oh my goodness. So I raced down here. Now Drew, our IT man's on the phone, and Biggie's going, I can't get anything to work. And, it's all these horrible things. Well,
what do you need to do? I need to type. What won't it do? Let me type.
You can't type. A minute later, I look at it, and it's all fixed. It's like, okay, it's fine. It's so weird because that's computers too, isn't it? That's just that's what the world we live in. The computers and how they work, and then all of a sudden it was just fixed.
Then they give you no hint either that there's a problem. Like everything looks fine. I'm going about my business, and suddenly it just won't let me type.
Oh, I know.
And you're like, what?
Well, I've dealt with that before in here, during program. Everybody, I think, deals with that. Later today, There's actually like an America Inside the Numbers planned, and it's about computers and passwords. That list is out again of the worst passwords you can possibly have. You know.
Oh, yeah.
You know what they are. But there's actually one in the top 10 that I'd never heard before.
Oh.
That's kind of interesting. You should think of that and try to guess it. You know, the usual suspects are like QWERTY, because it's straight across the keyboard.
Password.
The numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, all of these are on there. And by the way, if you have the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it takes hackers 1/10 of 1 second to hack that password.
Yeah. And we're in.
Yeah, it literally takes them 1/10 of 1 second to hack it. But I've got all the 10 worst passwords you could possibly have, and what experts recommend. And one of them in the top 10, I was like, oh, I never heard of that. I didn't realize people were using that as a password. Anyhow, that starts this program. I'll tell you this too. I told Chris Demm, it's cold I guess it's cold across the country. I walked across the parking lot today, and listen, I pickled last night. All right,
Indoor.
No. Outdoor. That's how stupid we are.
Oh.
I know. It was so cold last night. This is cold. I said to Chris Demm yesterday at this time, I said, what's the weather looking like tonight? Because I was looking at pickling.
Said near 20.
And he said.
Overnight.
Chris Demm said, coldest, darkest day of the year. I mean, this is the coldest day of the year so far. And we had outdoor pickle schedule. I kept waiting for somebody to say,
no, man, I need a break from my family.
We're not really.
No one will be the voice of reason.
No.
And say this is too cold.
No one would. And we went out there and played. I bundled up, and I just thought, there's no way I could live in Buffalo or
Green PA.
I couldn't do it. Or like Milwaukee or Green Bay or Minneapolis. My friend, who you know, Dustin, who you call Fonzie, the cool friend I had growing up.
Yeah.
The guy who
always told you the sex stories.
Man, he had a lot of great sex. Even, in high school, college, he was like, man, you should have seen what I was doing last night. And I was like, tell me, give it to me.
2 fingers here, 1 foot there.
Yeah.
Tongue here. You wouldn't believe it. And, of course, you lapped up every word.
I was going to say, what do you call him, his greatest audience?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there are many that I've done that with. But we're... Sorry.
No way. I'm miming a story that he might have.
Yeah.
1 finger here, 1 there.
Later at home when I was practicing on my pillows, I was like, how did he do that? How did he get... He's got...
So his foot was
here.
His knee was...
He was a lot more limber than I was, He was...
I think it was his imagination, but...
Oh, you may be right.
Suffice it to say.
You may be right. But at one point, I remember this distinctly... We were sitting next to a Little League baseball field. We'd been doing something on the baseball field, and everybody was leaving, and he said, all right, go ahead and tell me now. We were about 16, 17. He's like, how far have you been with a girl? And I was like, oh, all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, at a baseball field.
Yeah.
I was like, first base.
Well, yeah.
If you had to pick a base, where'd you say you've been?
Yeah, he said it. What base have you been to?
Home run.
I said third. I didn't want to make myself, that. I didn't want to lie that much because how far have you gone? I was like, third. And he's, oh, really? In which way? And I was like, the regular way.
The standard way.
And he goes, her on you or you on her? And I was like, oh, me on her.
What inning is it?
I said, me on her. I had no idea. I still really don't know what that meant.
No.
Even now. He's like, you've been to third. I said, yeah, I've been
third.
I said, I've been to third. And he goes,
it's nebulous, isn't it?
yeah, what's third? And he said, well, you on her or her on you? And I was like, oh, me on her. And he goes, boy, that's rare. And I was like, oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
I said, well, I wanted it that way. And he's like, man, you really doing some stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm doing some stuff. And then he says, well, let me tell you what I'm doing with my girlfriend. And then he's all under this. Like, okay. All right.
You see that dugout over there? No way.
And you're right. I ate every bit of it up on all of these things.